Forward was founded as a opposition research, reproductive rights organization that really looks into the who, what, and how opponents of reproductive health care are doing their work. So it didn't really exist in the reproductive health rights and justice space for an entity to solely look at the backgrounds of these folks, to pull out the information, to lay it all out there, to do the mapping, to say who's connected to who and how, and what's going on in the ways that folks are going after reproductive health care. So we found a lot, and you can imagine these days under this administration we found a lot. So Equity Forward started with our goal of looking at the Trump administration and appointees at the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services who were going after reproductive health care. So HHS, our nation's health department, really responsible for a lot of reproductive health programs, everything from the ACA to Medicaid to our low-income birth control program, which is known as Title X, but let's just say it's birth control for low-income people. So they really look at all those different programs, and what we found was over 50 appointees who had horrible backgrounds when it came to anti-abortion and anti-reproductive health care and anti-LGBTQ issues. Yeah, so I mean, I think there's a couple different ways we're seeing this go across the country. So if I want to start at the administration, right, under this current administration, and let's not kid ourselves, anti-abortion policy didn't just start in 2016 when Trump came into office, and that, you know, we've been fighting these fights for many decades across the states, and there's been great people doing work on the ground all across the country. And so with HHS, I mean, what we found were people with no backgrounds in reproductive health care, no backgrounds in medical science or anything they were overseeing. Instead, they had backgrounds in wanting to undermine all of these programs, similar to what we'd seen at other agencies, right? So you have oil and gas folks overseeing the environment. Really the fox guarding the hen house, as they like to say. So what they've done is gone in and systemically dismantled programs that have been really the backbone of reproductive health care in this country. So for example, the Title X program. It is birth control for low-income people. It's access to sexual and reproductive health care. It serves 4 million people a year. It's a great program. Been around for nearly 50 years, started under a Republican administration. Doesn't matter who's been in the White House. It's been a program chugging on forward. This is the first administration that not only decided to undermine it, to say certain healthcare clinics couldn't be part of it, but they actually made it into a program, a birth control program, that no longer talks about birth control. It's kind of unbelievable. They put out grants asking for people to take in these grants who didn't provide birth control. Shocking. Yeah, so if people are interested in knowing who they are, and they should be, we have a website called hhswatch.org. Really simple. You'll go there and you'll see the 50 folks from Secretary Alex Azar on down who have anti-abortion backgrounds and have done anti-abortion work. So one of my favorites is probably Diane Foley, and she is in the Office of Population Affairs. She's running the Office of Population Affairs, which is the birth control program, and her background is with anti-abortion centers, fake clinics, anti-sex ed programs. She's someone who's been quoted on saying, we all know about this, right? The sex ed program comes in, how do they teach you to use a condom? You put it on a banana. We know this, right? That's how you learn how to put a condom on correctly. She has actually said, I think that could be considered sexually harassing and it should be out of classrooms. I think it's bad for children. So she has this background of saying that she doesn't think we should teach sex ed. As a matter of fact, what she'd like us to do for sex ed, she's been quoted as saying, is, you know, the smashed up car they'd put outside the high school to tell you not to drink and drive? We all know it, right? We all had it. She thinks we should teach sex ed that way. Scare the heck out of people so they won't have sex. That was her idea of what we should do. Versus what most people want, comprehensive sex ed that tells people how to prevent STIs, prevent pregnancy, be safe and healthy. If a young person's going to have sex, they should probably wait until they're ready, but if once they are, teach them how not to get pregnant, teach them how not to get an STI, you know? So she's a particular favorite of ours because she's running a program she fundamentally disagrees with.